I'm at the Corsair suite here at Computex 2024, where they have a lot to show off, from new cases to fans, coolers, power supplies, and even a racing sim rig. But let's go somewhere a little bit more quiet to see in detail exactly what Corsair have got on offer. Let me start with cases, and in particular this, the 3500X. Now, Corsair say this is going to cost in the region of $90 for the base model, which to me seems pretty reasonable for what you're getting. Now, obviously tempered glass on the front and tempered glass on the side, no pillar. That's the trend really with a lot of these chassis nowadays. It does of course support those BTF motherboards as well, both in terms of Asus's model, but also what you'll find from the likes of GeekaWhat and MSI2 with their Project Zero. The fans are of course moved to the side to allow the glass at the front. You can see here there's 320mm in this chassis, but you can support up to 3 140s, 420mm rads, 360mm rads. There will be versions with and without fans included, but I'll come on to that in a moment. You'll also see here of course pretty standard PSU shield. On the top of this is Corsair's new sort of perforation design, and this is particularly prominent again on the top panel. I actually think it looks pretty cool, and all of this is click-in, so totally toolless in terms of both the tempered glass on the front, the top panel, and then the rear panel as well. And that's of course where the intake ventilation comes in for those fans on the side. Now, talking of fans, I said there were 3 versions, one with no fans, one with more entry level, and one with higher end fans. Talking of which, as far as the fan models that come included, the highest end one has the RX fans. These are the ones with the magnetic bearings, and of course the iCUE link connectivity that allows you to pop multiple fans together nice and easily. The mid-range model will come with the RS fans, and for the first time, I think ever, Corsair are using generic 3-pin RGB. You'll still be able to control it in iCUE Link, which will still allow you to sync all those system-wide effects up. One feature I did spot though in the Corsair suite is this little iCUE Link cover on the rear of the case. Now this actually pops off and basically gives you room to mount a cable into the rear of the chassis. So I'm interested to see as to whether Corsair have maybe got something in the future coming that's iCUE Link related and lives outside of the PC. But who knows? So a fairly entry-level case here from Corsair, something that looks to perhaps plug the gap they currently have at this price point. It's an area, of course, their 4000 case would have typically lied. That's been around for some time. So first impressions of me for this are pretty good. Now, if you want to spend, well, the other extreme of the PC case market and a lot of money, you may wish to consider this, which I should not have picked up in any way. This is their new 9000D, which is the more modern and updated version of the original 1000D, which is obviously a pretty famous PC case. It's a heavy boy. In terms of fan support, you can get 140mm in the front, 4 on both sides, 120 or 140mm at the top, a pair of 120s at the rear. There's radiator support galore, and they were actually showing off a system that, I mean, looks gorgeous, by the way, that had 4 included pump res combos. This is a chassis that lets you actually install 2 builds, so you've got a full-size E80X system and then a mini ITX build as well. So if you've got like a streaming and an editing PC, you can do that. What's probably a little bit more relevant to most of you, though, is CPU coolers, and that is where this comes in. Now, this is their new range of Titan all-in-one coolers, and they're a more affordable iCUE Link option over the existing iCUE Link H150i, H170i, etc. They're renaming these as well to make things a bit more simple, so they're just going to be called the Titan 360 or the Titan 240. The H150i naming scheme is dead, maybe forever. Just feels quite monumentous and a little bit sad, actually, but it does make things more easy and simple, and I can see why they've done it. Now, this has actually got Corsair's new first-party pump design, so a lot of people think they're using Acertech. They're not. They call this their flow drive technology. One thing this has got, which is quite cool though, is you can actually change the top out. So you can see there's some gold contact pins here. Simply make sure everything's aligned and you can just chuck it on. So this one's got a fan on for better VRM cooling. There's obviously the more traditional one with the screen that we're used to seeing on a lot of the existing iCUE Link cooler designs, which you can then of course control all through Corsair iCUE. Talking of Corsair iCUE, they've also got RGB strips. Might not seem that interesting, but these are actually something I've been hoping Corsair update for a long time. Really like being able to actually add RGB strips into a system, especially builds like this. Gives it a little bit of flair, a bit of an edge, and these are iCUE Link compatible. Now, they don't use the iCUE Link connector. Instead, they're still using Corsair's 3-pin that we've seen in their previous non-iCUE Link range. However, there is an included converter block, which takes this from the 3-pin signal to iCUE Link compatible. They say this is just simply due to the fact that installing the iCUE Link hardware module within a strip of this size just wouldn't quite be possible. I really like how well diffused these are as well. Same with Corsair's new fans, which brings me on to one of the final things before we look at their, I want to say, surprise of Computex 2024. These are their new LX fans, and these aim to sit as a more affordable option below the top-end QX fans, which we've featured in lots of builds on the channel at this point. Now, they still retain the outer RGB ring ring, which is diffused better in my opinion than on the original QX design, and the RGB in the hub of the fan itself. The downgrade comes on the rear, whereby we ditch the extra ring on the outside and inside hub of the fan. This is saving some cost, but obviously means they're not going to look quite as good if you've got them in an upside down reverse fan configuration. That's where something like the QX design may be a better shout. Still fully iCUE Link compatible though, and of course I don't like the word daisy chaining, but daisy chainable with other components in exactly the same way as we've come to be fairly impressed with iCUE Link. Now, the real surprise of Computex though comes when we look at this. Now, anyone who's watched the channel particularly closely and for a reasonable amount of time knows I really enjoy sim racing and actually have a sim rig in the office, and Corsair have joined the party. So let me show you what it's all about. This thing is only a prototype, but it's pretty bonkers. You can see here it's got a full PC mounted on the rear, a Corsair racing seat, and then a Fanatec set of pedal and wheels. It's also triple monitor, which is pretty impressive. You can see these monitors are on these adjustable rails, which should allow you to install, well, 3 large ultra-wides with plenty of room still to spare. There's loads and loads of drill points and mounting points as well for various, as I say, wheels, pedals, and other accessories. The seat's obviously fully adjustable as you might expect. No pricing or really availability info at this point, so while it's cool, I would hasten to guess that it's probably going to be pretty on the high-end side, even perhaps for the sim rig market, which is traditionally quite expensive. I'd also bet some money on seeing a configurator on Corsair's site that allows you to pick the bits you do want, the bits you don't want. You can probably go and add some monitors or even a PC build if you like. Really, really good fun, really impressive, but we have to see how this thing releases, the price point, and of course get into the bones of it just a little bit more. I said this was the last thing, but there is one more thing I want to cover, and this is especially interesting at the moment for my North American viewers. Now, this is the Corsair Custom Labs area, currently available on the Corsair web store pretty much exclusively, and you can see here there's a couple of designs really quite special. This obviously allows you to have something just a little bit more bespoke in your system. This is their K65 Plus wireless mechanical keyboard, so you can see this one's the Cherry Blossom, there's one that's like a Galaxy design, it's pretty cool actually, and then the M75 wireless mouse and matching mouse pad. So I'll drop a link to that down in the description below, and as I say, if you're in North America, hopefully they'll bring it, please Corsair, to the rest of the world as time progresses. Definitely something cool you should check out. And that basically wraps it up for the Corsair booth. There has been a lot. There are loads and loads of new things here at Computex 2024. Particularly excited to see these new cases land. Maybe we'll do a 2-system build in the ridiculous 9000D. Definitely going to do a load of systems as well in that 3500X. Really excited for that one. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to get subscribed. Drop a comment. Let me know what you think of Corsair at Computex 2024. And as always, we'll see you in the next one.